Hey, what's up, guys? Generations recap here, getting it out a little bit late, but you know how it is. Uh, yeah, so I had left off with the meeting that was supposed to be tomorrow, where I was getting like my pre-trial to see if I was going to be essentially put on trial for medical malpractice. Um, and I basically spent the rest of my evening kind of putting off my research and kind of going through a bit of like a I don't say like a deposition, but like a thought process as to what I'd say, what I'd go through, how I'd approach it, all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, it was like just Cass's thought was like it'll probably be done by like some kind of medical board or something like that. Oh, sweet, poor naive Cass, like just to see what's going on. So he approached it very clinically and just like looking to like this is the information. Excuse me, it should speak for itself. Um, I'm trying to remember if oh yes, that did happen. That first night, I'm pretty sure. I get woken up halfway through the night after like going to sleep, and hear Miriam was trying to leave. So I get out there, talk to Zug and Theremin and Verimin, and he's like he already left, and so like I'm in panic mode because like we're under lockdown and everything like that. Like we're not supposed to be leaving. I'm like, okay, need to figure out what's going on. Does anyone know why he left? No. All right, so I go through his things, like where he was researching, and he did leave a little note, like said like they need me. I'll be okay on this one. Trust me. And I do. There's nothing I can do. Like there's no I can't like be sending out our military guys out like to look for him or anything like that. Like he went on his own volition. It wasn't like he was dragged away screaming or anything. So we pretty much let that go as it is. Nothing you can do about the situation. Control the things you can, but at this point, like not causing even more of an incident would be for the best. Um, End up going to sleep. Next day, talking with Lyria about what's going on. She said about like him leaving and everything like that, but he hasn't come back yet, which is definitely concerning because I had hoped that issue would resolve itself. Like, oh, they had like a medical emergency. We need to, you know, now he's back or anything like that. So who knows what's going on with Miriam? But again, uh, we gotta trust that he knew what he was doing. Uh, Someone comes by and says that my meeting was pushed back. Uh, yeah, so it was pushed back. Uh, so I basically spend the rest of the day like kind of diving into research with the stuff that we have and kind of exploring a couple theories. One of them being that Nui, the whole Nui energy thing has a process where you can persist the effects of a long term thing. Um, but I don't know much about it. It's not my specialty. It's just like it's a very vague thing. So I asked Leary about it, and again, it's not her specialty, but it's something she had considered going into at one point. And what basically happens is patients will come in and they'll receive these treatments, and it's like every one to like they said, like basically like every 2 weeks is the usual thing. Um, so I was like, okay, like so like let's assume like even talent like talent wise, like for people in that field, like let's expand it a bit and say like once every like maybe 2 months, like if these kids are being affected by something, like they might need to receive a treatment to update it. And then she kind of recalls this guy named Dr. Uberis, and he can persist it for up to 6 to 8 months, which definitely opens up the possibilities of this thing being like associated with Quari energy. Because if you can do it with if you can do like you could basically do a treatment and then have a person wait like 8 months before they need to come in for another one, then like you can extrapolate from there like that he's not the most talented person with it, and like let's say we can increase it by like 50-60%, and that puts us like a bit above the timeline of where we are, but like in that ballpark kind of area of the thing. The other thing that makes it seem like it might not be the case is with Nui energy, it's like a slow decline over time. Like, they said like as far as like most people goes, just because they're medical professionals and all looking like stretched out. It's like the reason why they go for about like 2 weeks is it declines to about like 50% potency over time, and then like before it gets any lower than that, like the effects of it, they'll come in, like they'll give like the booster shot essentially, and send you on your way. With the disease that we're dealing with is it gets slowly but exponentially stronger over time, which throws a bit of a wrench in it. And like I said, it could have something to do with like attaching to the host and using it as a battery, and then like starting out slow, and then as more and more systems deteriorate, it just gets worse and worse. There is a bit of a breakthrough in that I in kind of like trying to like reverse engineer things a bit, as far as like a step-by-step process, looking at like systems that were affected, and then kind of cross-referencing it. What I know about Quarry Energy is it's neurological in nature, for certain. The conditions accelerates over time and does not degrade. Stage 1 to 2 is very slow, and then like it starts to increase from 2 to 3, 4 to 5, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and then by 4 to 5, like the progression is very, very fast. So like two kind of breakthroughs on that thing, even for like under lock and key and not getting anything new, which is, that ends up being like a good day for it. Probably like push it a little further than I wanted to, because like I want to keep myself rested and ready to tackle this nonsense that I'm dealing with here. The next day, they I think I forget which one. I think this is Ferriman comes and says that they said like your trial thing is in an hour, so I get up, get myself ready, and after I take care of like the basic hygiene stuff, I make my way out, and there's like already 30 guards out there. Was it 30? Yeah, 30 guards in the room when I get ready, and basically they're getting ready too. So I go out, I grab something to eat, and excuse me, there's this older woman in a black suit with white trim. She looks like she's in her late 50s, and then a man behind her in his late 30s. Notably, she has a pendant with a blazing sun, with a sun blazing with fire under it, and she's called the 33rd Nadia the Prime. And Dr. Amara does show up in the background, like with the guards there. So she's very matter of fact, and she's like, present your case to potentially avoid the trial. So like when it comes to the death of Laku, and Cass does kind of what he rehearsed. It's like basically you gave me this terminal patient that we're looking to try to figure out this unknown disease that is ultimately killing these kids. Like that's the end result that we're looking here, and everything that he did, he ran through Dr. Amara, which was his former liaison. He presented the risks associated with it to the best of his knowledge, because they were forging forth in unknown areas. But like there is a timer on the clock. Like as much as it would, it might be nice to just sit back and like theorize. Like at some point, like there's the recognition that like there is a timer associated with this. Like the longer they go, the more irreparable the damage is going to be, and that's something that was That was the other major breakthrough that I forgot to touch on, was the advanced aging process wasn't so much. It didn't necessarily seem like it was like the virus doing it. I mean, it was the virus doing it to an extent, but it was especially like on a lot of the internal organs, is it's because their efficiency fell so far that they were like having to work 5 or 6 times as fast. So the advanced aging is essentially, you know, someone like someone who's very young presenting like the symptoms of the organs very young or very old, is because they're like they're multiplicative in nature as far as how much harder they're having to work just to perform, like just to keep like their self alive. And I think that was like my takeaway from it. So again, like very time sensitive, where um, the longer they're in this state, like just the worse off they're gonna be for sure, because they're just of what their body's being put through. I don't know. Now, I think that Nui Energy can like fix that somewhat, because we do live a lot longer than they do. I think like their lifespan's 80, whereas I think we can get up to like 250 in extreme cases, but like I think we're a bit less than that normally. I want to say like 120, 150, something like that. Maybe it is like 250 though. But yeah, so like we can definitely help with that after the fact, but like even then it's like it's still not something you want to be exposed to for a long period of time. So Cass goes through the steps and everything like that, and then kind of like explains it a little bit on the clinically side, because she seems like a very dry and she seems like one of those people like you're not gonna like reach her on any kind of empathetic or impassioned level, which to Cass is like, oh, good, that's my strong suit. Like I can handle this then, and present it in a way that's like you have to be crazy to like to pursue this and like to really like cut off our research to things. The other thing is she says that like you could be tried for this and sentence up to a penalty including death, which is just like, oh my gosh, like that's terrible. Um, yeah, he goes through like the steps that they did. The like I said, the very concerning thing about the disease they're dealing with is it's actually able to obscure the patients while under this process, which is something completely foreign. As it's like if Cass was able to whenever like his vitals spiked and everything like that, like he would normally be aware of that, but for some reason he wasn't. Um, so like that was like that's just one of those ones where it's like it's not a malpractice thing, it's just it's a much more concerning thing, and like the procedure he did was meant to be just simply exploratory. Like it's not meant to put the patient in any kind of risk or anything like that. It's just kind of to ascertain what is wrong with them, and on a more in-depth level than just like looking at them, or like what like an x-ray might do. But it's like it's not looking to get in there and like move things around and poke and prod. Like it's more like let me understand what's going on. And I don't think I quite stressed that probably enough in the thing, but anyway, that was the whole thing was a farce. One of the guys like kind of piped up behind her and was like, "It's like, isn't it true that you went in and like healed the entire children's ward?" And she was like, she kind of snapped. She's like, "That's not relevant to this case." And that's why I didn't bring it up. I was like, because it isn't relevant to this case. I was like, but yeah, I was like, yeah, he is correct. I was like, and I was like, just so you understand, the reason I did that is to help your people understand what's going on. Like it's basically it's a way of bridging the gap of understanding, because if we're going to solve this problem, I'm going to need your help, kind of thing. Like I'm one person, and you guys have had like this wealth of talent and manpower, like probably most importantly, to be able to assist. And like I said, if I can do it in a different way, like being able to call on those things is a valuable resource. So doing that is like, yeah, you could say it's altruistic or anything like that, but it's like realistically, like it was to show Dr. Amara the process that exists. Because if you go up there to let's pretend like a regular medical professional and say like I can lay hands on this dude and make them better, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. But if you lay hands on that dude and make them better, like where you're repairing like broken bones in a matter of minutes, there's tangible evidence of a process there where it's like it's not like a fluke, it's not like a snake oil, it's not, nothing crazy where like, it's like, oh, suddenly like a disease cured itself. It's like there's tangible evidence of an accelerated healing process. So like that was the reason he did it, to hopefully bridge the understanding. And yeah, he kind of like he downplayed it a little bit, but like he did say it's like, yeah, that was something I did, but like this is why I did it, like just to understand. And then she keeps trying to say like that she's reached her decision. Apparently, also like her doing this solo as opposed to like I guess like having a bit of a group there to decide it. Also, that a big thing, but like it's kind of an also thing is someone had mentioned like that the magnate wasn't there, and apparently someone made an attempt on the magnate's life, which, oh my gosh, of course they did, because he's in our corner and like because his son's at stake and everything like that. But that's why he couldn't make it. And she's like she was like made a decision, and then that's when the first guy interrupted about the healing kids thing, and then like made my decision, and that's when Dr. Aramis steps up and she says, I can verify that what Cass said is true, is that he made every attempt to approach this from informing me so that I could pass on the risk associated with it, gauge it, and then like I said, the move was always she was allowed to run it up the chain of command to see if they thought the risk was worth it. So it's like basically he was their, I guess in a sense, like a tool for them, but like it was a specialized tool that they were unfamiliar with, but he was able to like do things that they weren't. But at the end of the day, it was still their decision to make, and he was simply the person who acted, rather than like going out there on his own, because like I said, he did want to be respective of them, and then like also present like the risks and everything associated with it, because it's like, oh, this is like who was like either the first or second, we believe, like it's not concrete, like one of the first, we'll say, affected with it. So he has been affected the longest, and he is in the weakest state. He is exceptionally young, and he has been in like this cryostasis thing. And it's like, I didn't ask for the most advanced patient or anything like that. Like, this is what you guys gave me, and you need to understand that like this like, and he kind of pointed out like some of the breakthroughs that he's made, as far as research, like isolating the fact that it's a neurological disorder, the fact that it's like using the host as essentially a battery to power itself, and something he didn't get to yet, because she does go on to pass her verdict, because like he just it's like he was not getting a real read on her. Like he just and like I said, there was a bit of naivety. It was like where he just thought she was cold and calculated and everything like that, and she's like, oh, like there's a mountain of evidence that's kind of like that it isn't malpractice, so he's gonna go, she's gonna get through it. And she's like, anyway, decision's made, you're gonna stand trial. Okay, that's where I was put on pause. Like from there, Cass has a couple things that he's gonna do before she hopefully leaves the room. I said, formally charged malpractice by Amara showing up, and Prime was literally having none of it. Thanks, Recap Me, for really not taking great notes on that. But yeah, that's where I ended up. I think nothing. I think it was more, I guess, like in my mind, I want to say like part of me was like, okay, like this is they're approaching it logically, and like there's basically a mountain of evidence to suggest that there's not malpractice. But also part of me was like, I might be speaking to a brick wall at this point too. Like she might have already made up her mind, because like that was something I kind of got the hints of from the people around her, and like just the comments of like, this is very uncommon for like this kind of trial to be held, pre-trial to be held, and everything like that. And Cass is willing to stand trial for this, like in the sense that I guess still believes like justice could prevail, like that stuff like that. But it's like it's also kind of waking him up to the idea like that the bias might be so strong here that like there might not be much of a fair trial. It might be a judge, jury, executioner kind of thing, which is extra terrible and really puts a damper on us potentially leaving or getting out of here. So we'll see what happens next time.